IVC, Delegate 433 here to do a finds video, finds of all sorts. So yeah, thought I would do more than just a boring vinyl finds video, picking up on suggestions from those incredibly erudite and intelligent new VC influencers who are making waves on the VC at the moment. So I can't remember who said that we should show more than vinyl. I can't remember if it was Penge or Derek, but one of them certainly. But yeah, obviously they know what they're talking about. So yeah, so I thought I'd come on and do a finds. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with Pop Trumps first. So these are Pop Trumps Library Music Edition. So what are Pop Trumps? So for those of you like me as a child, might have done Top Trumps. This is not my favourite Top Trump edition in my collection of Top Trumps. That would mainly be cars. I had loads of different cars ones, but I can't find them. So motorcycles. So the game is to pitch yourself against your opponent with the facts and the best kind of elements of each vehicle. In this case, motorcycles. In this case, library records. Whichever has the highest value, highest rarity score, earliest year, wacky factor score, wins you the opponent's card when you pit yourself card against card, for those of you who aren't. So yeah, so you know, obviously I'm not someone who goes in for lists and facts and all that kind of stuff, but sort of appeals to me. You know me, I'm very much from the heart, not driven by all these sorts of things. But I thought I would buy these. So these are available, if they're still available. These sell out quite quickly. So I think this is the third incarnation of Pop Trumps. I think there have been you know, classic rock and maybe one other, or maybe it's, but this is library music. So these are Johnny Trunk puts these out. For those of you familiar with Johnny Trunk, you can get those. So yeah. Moving on. Cassette find. So this is Pulse Lovers and their self-titled album. So this is on. This is a limited. I think it was 150 that I might have bought. I think I might have bought it on a Bandcamp fees days. So yeah, this was originally put out on CDR, I think, or CDR a few years ago, 5 years ago. They've reissued it on cassette, screen printed sort of cover, and hand screen printed 150 of the artwork. So yeah, so all quite nice. It's, what is it? This is a mix of sort of folky hauntology stuff, synth, analog synth, found sounds or field recordings. Yeah, it's a good album. Okay, so that's cassettes. Moving on now, CDs. So John 6-inch Pianist has started to cost me even more money again. So a while ago, I think he showed a 7-inch single from a label, Happy Records. Do a lot of reggae, modern new reggae, soul reggae, dub releases. I had a listen on their Bandcamp site, and I've got quite a few things in the pipeline now. Spent quite a bit of money. But I think, yeah, it might have been the last Bandcamp Friday. They dropped the prices of their CDs. 4 CDs anyway, or they might have just put an Instagram shout out. So 4 CDs at £2 each. So I just bought them. So these are either, this is a Trojan Session. So these are, 2 of them are Palmer International as the artist, and 2 of them are Phoenix City All Stars. Phoenix City All Stars do 2 cover CDs. So this one is called Clash Version Rockers. So these are reggae dub versions of Clash songs. And Searching for the Young Ska Rebels. So these are, as you can probably guess, reggae dub versions of Dexys Midnight Runners songs. And then the Palmer International, they do Trojan Sessions. I've only listened to one of them. I've only listened to the Clash one. It's all pretty good, interesting cover versions in a more dub reggae style. Yep, so continuing with Happy People. I did say Happy Records. Happy People Records is what I meant if I said Happy Records. I did buy one of their singles, so they do singles on limited edition run. So this is number 73 of 196 on black vinyl. They also do a kind of run on coloured vinyl for each of their singles releases. Again, this is I guess it's a kind of dub. So this is the Loving Paupers, 2 songs, and the piano's playing An Enemy of History. Yeah, both kind of, say, a dub reggae music with probably a soul, reggae soul style vocal on it. As I say, I've got plenty more in the pipeline, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but unfortunately for my wallet. So that's CDs and 7-inch singles. So now we'll move on to books. And these 2 new books have arrived recently. I haven't read them yet, but I thought I would show them in case people are interested in buying them while they're available. So this is the new Tracy Thorne book. Tracy Thorne, who the singer with Everything But the Girl and My Rock and Roll Friend. So I think this is her 4th book. I've got all of her previous 3. Her first book, Bedsit Disco Queen, I highly recommend to anyone. All of them are great. She writes in such a easy, accessible, logical way. You just kind of suddenly you start the book and suddenly you finished it. It's just so absorbing and interesting. So this is about her relationship with her friend Lindy Morrison, who was in the Australian band the Go-Betweens. So they went on tour years and years ago in the 80s, and I think formed a lifelong friendship. And this is about that subject, I believe. I haven't read it yet. And then the other book I've got is Richard Thompson's, I think, first biography. So this is, I think he intends to do more. So it's called Beeswing, one of his brilliant songs, Beeswing. And it's Fairport Folk Rock and Finding My Voice, 1967 to 1975. So that will cover the period clearly leading into the Fairport Convention, through to him hooking up and then marrying Linda Peters, became Linda Thompson, and then I think 75. So they certainly went on tour 75. So it kind of finishes at that, probably at the sort of middle period of their relationship and musical relationship. So yeah, so looking forward to getting into those. Yeah, just on books, I don't know, I've found with the pandemic I've not been able to concentrate much on a book. So I've bought an awful lot of books because I know that they interest me and I want to read them. But I've really struggled to read books. I mean, I have unfortunately picked some really thick books that I've read. But I've probably only read 2 or 3 books last year. Just can't seem to want to concentrate on reading a book. So I tend to read a book when I go to bed, and I tend to read about 3 pages, and then I need to go to sleep. So that's how long it takes me to get through books at the moment. Anyway, that was an aside you didn't need. So moving on to vinyl albums finally, and I've got 3 car boot sales. Yes, car boot sale finds. Yeah, you heard that correctly. So after 18 months in this area, finally got out to car boot sales. Yeah, last weekend I managed to scored some records, nothing spectacular at all, but just getting out there now and finding stuff, having not done it for 18 months in where I live. So, and I saw Rob Walker has started to get out there and find stuff as well. Yeah, and I know he's going to be doing regular videos on it, but I just thought I'd insert 3 finds into this finds video. So, and I say there's nothing special. So the first one is, so my wife and I, we've been watching, we watch a few things sort of there's a few things on TV that we tend to kind of think we both want to watch, and when there isn't, we kind of agree that we quite like watching music documentaries, and so we will, and we were watching one in the 80s the other day, and the 80s sort of disco scene and synth scene, and this, so the seller that I bought records from on Sunday when I went to the basically he had a lot of 80s stuff. I'm only showing three new records, as in new to me records here. There were a few others that were potential upgrades on records I've already got, so I'm not going to show those because I've already showed versions of those records, or I will do. So first up is, say, picking up on that, is Bronski Beats, The Age of Consent. So an album I've never had before from, is it 84, something like that. I did buy Small Town Boy 12-inch single when it came out in 84. Yeah, I bought that, really enjoyed that song. And so you say there was, in this documentary we happened to be watching on Saturday, there was a feature on Bronski Beats, and kind of that scene, and then the history and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so I haven't listened to this, but I know 3 or 4 of the songs already from back in the day. So that's that. So yeah, so I'm kind of gradually coming around to the pop side of life, as that last record probably suggested. Yeah, Richard McCook, and watching Richard McCook's videos avidly for 18 months or so has kind of wearing me down, and I'm getting much more in pop sensibilities from that. And I think I've commented to Richard that, when the car boot season starts, I now know that I'm going to be looking for Toyah, Bangles, and Altered Images records, just based on kind of watching his videos and thinking, oh yeah, I remember that, I must get some of that in my collection. And lo and behold, really nice clean copy of Bangles' album, Different Light. So yeah, obviously I know the hits off of this, but I played this is a very good album through and through. Outside of the hits, the songs are all really good. So enjoyed that. So finally got some Bangles, and then something that's not 80s related. And what I should say about this, so Rob said in his car boot sale video that from one of the sellers he got there and heard the words that all of us car boot rummagers don't want to hear is, oh yeah, someone's just been through that box, and you kind of know there's probably not going to be much in it left, if someone who knows what they're looking for has been through the box before you. So you always want to get to a box first. And this car boot sale, there was a guy who had a couple of boxes of records, the handled boxes of records, and I sort of said, can I have a look at your records? He said, yeah, just a minute. And then he came over and said, right, yeah, I only got these last night from a guy out of his garage. So so he opened it up in front of me, and I thought, oh, there's some stuff there. He said, yeah, there's some things in there that I want, so I'm just going to go through it. So right in front of me, he went through it and went, took all the good stuff out of it in front of me. So sort of, not only did I got to see what I could have had, and then watch him whip it away from me, but still left me with a few things. And one of the things he did leave in there is a reggae album on Trojan, on the Trojan label from 1970, Reggae in the Summertime by the Music Doctors, I think their only album. This is kind of really, again, I've played one side of this, and I'm not a reggae, I've got no knowledge of reggae, so my descriptions are going to be pants as normal. But yeah, it's kind of quite dubby, with some so sort of some instrumental but some vocals as well. That's any album in the world. No, it's got sort of quite a dubby, bassy sound, but it's got some fairly sort of like oh, I'm not going to try. John, help me out. It's got a cop, but the side I did play finishes with "Can't Get Used to Losing You," which obviously was popular, has been made popular by a number of different artists. So I heard that, and I noticed at the end of side 2, it's got "In the Summertime." So I don't know what that will sound like, but yeah, it sounds good. It's, as you can see, it's pretty beat. The record, again, John says reggae mint, so this is probably reggae VG plus. So that's that. So there were 3 records, used records from the car boot sale, but it's a start. It's a start anyway. Hopefully a start of great things to come. So on to now some 3 new finds, although all reissues. So first up was a sort of a Gap filler. It's been on my list for, well, probably for 2 or 3, however long it came out, 2019. So it's probably been on my want list for 2019. It dropped to a kind of really cheap price, so I thought I'd pick it up, which is Mott the Hoople's Brain Capers album. So you don't see originals in the wild very often, and they're normally, for some reason, the cover's normally beaten up when I have seen them. So I thought I'd pick this up. Yeah, so this is the album. Could have been their last album. This is the album, I think, Last Chance Saloon, before David Bowie gave them all the young dudes, and the kind of, they took off again on a completely different path. But yeah, so from this I knew Sweet Angeline. It's a good album, but yeah, it's probably my favourite of their if you like, pre-second phase period. Mott the Hoople, Brain Capers. Next up, a really enjoyable, what shall I describe it as? I mean, I think it says Afro funk, psychedelic soul jazz, and it's got all of that going on. Black Heat. This is a music on vinyl reissue from a 1972 album. Really funky, jazzy. It's got they've got 6 main band members, and then they've got some, but they've also got like a horn section, and they've got the David Newman as a guest on all flute and tenor sax solos. Really good, quite varied. It flits between instrumental tracks and vocal tracks. The vocals are multi-vocals, so if I was going to say what's it like, you could say OCB, the first album by OCB, but that would be lazy. And actually, this is, to me, this is better than the first album by OCB. Yeah, and the song, the penultimate track on side 2, Send My Lover Back, and that's about 6 minutes, instrumental. Slightly different feel to all the others. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really have enjoyed this. And continue in a sort of funky feel. This is from another one of my favourite labels, Be With Records. This is Solar. Look at that cover, fantastic cover. So this is a reissue of a 1971 album by the artist Solar. She was a Mexican singer, again, soul, funk, psych, but blended together. To me, I think it's just great pop, Mexican pop from 1971. Again, on Be With Records, fantastically recorded, really enjoyable album. So that is me. So we've had a bit of everything today, and I'll be back with some boring records next time probably. Yeah, so I'm about to record my Lost in the Collection, so I'll get on with that in a bit. Cheers, VC. Bye.